super sweet. Looks like it's, yep, cool. But yeah, that's what I got from like the headlines. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read the article yet, like any of those
Mhm.
articles, because it's like, I mean, how many times am I gonna have to read articles just talking about how people are gonna talk with the same results? So I've kind of lost interest
Oh,
in reading them, although I shouldn't. Just lazy.
no, it's all good. It's because they're new talks. They're at a new bill. you know, these ones are at the UN Security Council, and this is where when they talk about like bureaucracy, this is where we get to see. Oh yeah, there's a ton of bureaucracy. It's like, oh man, there's like half a dozen organizations that all do the exact same thing in the exact same area. And so then they all have to, communicate with each other to then figure out, whether, blue ink or, red ink or purple ink should be used to, sign the documents. Yeah, evidently Denmark said they wanted to use like pink sparkly ink, but that got vetoed.
Those Danes.
Okay, that last one was a joke. I'm sorry. About the pink ink, all the other stuff I was 100% serious about.
Wait, Denmark are
Yeah,
Danes, right?
I think so.
I think so too. I think so too. All right.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, so that's going on Monday morning. So I don't know if I think that's going to be at the one in New York instead of the Hugh.
Is that
So
is that today? You saying?
yeah, that's today.
Okay.
So that'd be, I'm sure they don't wake up too early. So I would guess Monday morning, at like 9 or 10 a.m. East Coast time, like like U.S. East Coast time. Well, that and they probably have to have like all kinds of preliminary things. Do they still have like the trumpet stuff, where the person in the tights like announces, "Here is Ambassador Shmumity Bum
Yes. Yes, they
from
do.
the embassy, ba ba da."
Yep. They're bicolor tights, and then like the shirt, but like the shirt's reversed. Then they have the hat. It doesn't have bells on. That's a
It's
jester.
got feathers. Yeah,
It's
it's got feathers. It's
yeah.
like droopy feathers that are like down, and many a suburbia pop singer has like mimicked that with their hairstyles.
Huh. They secretly are jealous of the person with the announcing job.
Yeah, the announcer, the like royal announcer.
Yeah.
Speaking of royal announcements, gas gapped up overnight for a happy Monday morning. Uh, it's now been dribbling down, so like peaked over $5, about $5.05. Yeah, if you round up, $5.06. Now we're at like 478. Uh, so we're on the dribble right now. That's like drool off a dog's chin, not what basketball players do really well when I say dribble. And um, there's some cold coming in. Like that's like one of the big things is that there's a really strong cold spike coming in between. Well, really, it's like the 4th of uh, February. So I just like I saw the date and then I like had like a total brain stoppage because that's the day I'm getting a new tattoo. So then I was just like, wait, I got something going on that day, something important. What is
Oh,
it? And then I was like, oh wait,
yeah.
that's when I get a new tattoo. So yeah, February 4th, which is this Friday, through the 5th, and then down into the 6th, even, like a bit. Like there's like a 2 to 3 day cold spike when you weigh it based on like the overall like population of the United States. And then it gradually gets back down on the forecast down to normal around the 10th and 11th of February. And so I think that really strong cold spike has really gotten, the speculators out there like really rallied them. There's a lot of open interest in March uh contracts, and they got that bump because the price. I think a big part of it was the bump that they got from the short squeeze on the last day of February contracts. When February contracts, someone lost their job and got squeezed real hard, like in a vice grip. And I think that like helped out, like gave, you know, like March. I don't know if we'd be this high. Like I don't know if we would have been at like $5 if that had not happened Thursday. You know what I mean? Obviously that's just speculation, but I don't think pricing would have been pushed up as high as it has been. Do that. I don't mind that it's this high. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't mind that at all. Um, I just don't, I just don't think it would have. This would have happened, and I think that's one reason why pricing has come down like 30 cents overnight. Because that's a lot. A 30 cent like move is significant in like a fraction of a day. Like because I'm not including the gap, just the actual like the peak of where it went to then where we're at now.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
no, that is a lot. 30 cents, especially like at that time of day, unless they're, yeah, barring like a short squeeze or something, you know. But no, I totally agree about that price action at the end of the February contract. Yeah, like the short squeeze made other short squeezing more likely, or
mhm.
like suddenly, oh, like this is our new. We can make it to $5, because now we see it on the chart. It's like, oh, we've been over $5, and it's, you know, after the price came through $5 once, it went all the way back up a dollar. Yeah, we've been talking about this recently. Also, like I think these huge price swings. That's a dollar in 3 days.
Mhm.
Um, these huge price swings are going to be more less anomalous and more accepted in our
Oh yeah.
our beloved commodity here. Um, yeah, I think we'll see these more often. Not all the time. I don't think like I'll be able to predict it with any kind of consistency that I can make money off it. But that's why I have a trading plan and be prepared. But anyway, keep going. I love what you were doing. Or are you done?
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you on like volatility. I think volatility of gas prices in the United States is going to increase as the U.S. has greater exposure to international markets. Yeah, I'm with you for 100% on that. As the exporting capacity of the United States increases, and as a percentage of production, as exports as a percentage of production and of storage increase, then the U.S. becomes like more sensitive to what goes on around the world. And I think just like that and the changing like culture behind trading natural gas, I think those are two huge drivers in exactly what you're saying, that this is going to be way more common, which is awesome because it's already like the if it's not the most volatile commodity, it's like one of the most volatile commodities to trade. Most people, there's never 100% consensus on everything, right? So but I think most people will agree that it is the most volatile. So just more volatility just means more money out there to be made, and I enjoy that. So that's why I do it. Um, and so yeah, I think this last one was just the people for on March contract where we have a ton of open interest got helped out uh, from what happened on February contract that pushed the curve up, like the annual curve of gas, and then that like helped. People who are interested in a short squeeze on March to be like, oh wow, we now get to start from a higher price point. Um, and it was kind of, no pun intended, a perfect storm because February got squeezed like enormously on the last day of its trading, and that coincides with the coldest peak in like weather in the United States of the entire withdrawal season. Like it lined up perfectly. So
Was I
yeah,
mean,
again, like,
so you're
oh, go
just
ahead.
pointing out that weather is the driver of the squeeze?
That lined up with the last day of February
Oh, okay. No, I
contract.
get. Yeah, I got you. All right.
So that pushed the February. rollover push prices higher in March because the different contracts, like the different monthly contracts of gas, they all affect each other what their prices are.
Hmm.
And so February going up, that pushed all the other prices up for the most part. And that then enabled people who wanted to squeeze March to do so from a higher price point, like to start from a higher price point. And so between that and then the coldest weather coming in for the entire withdrawal season, I think that helped out. And that's why we saw $5, is what I think. Because I don't think we would have seen $5 otherwise.
What?
Not right now. We could see $5 in the future. Like I'm
Right.
just saying in this like 5-day window that we're discussing. And I think that's why while we were sleeping, it went to $5, when I was eating dinner. And then from the time I had dinner and then I woke up this morning, had a cup of coffee, it went from 505 to like 476. And that's a big drop in price during trading hours, especially during like lower volume trading hours. So I think that's why that's happened. And maybe it just wants to fill the gap. You know what I mean? Some people are like OCD with gaps being filled. So, and I mean that sincerely for those who are watching, like there are literally technical traders out there who are just like, dude, we got a gap here in
Got
the
a
chart.
gap.
It's got to be filled. Like literally, they like pretty much start freaking out if it hasn't been filled within a week. Like, dude, this gap over here needs to be filled. Like, and they'll be talking about a gap in the chart price from like 3 weeks, previously. And you're like, dude, what? Like, no, it has to be. It must be filled. It must be filled. I'm like, well, do you got the buying power to make that gap get filled? Because if you don't, then the market might not do what you want it to do. You know what I mean?
The market might not care as much as you do about
Yeah, about that gap.
it.
But this gap, I think will be filled because the gap is below where the current price is. So um, I think that the price is going to be way lower than this come April. But that's just me.
Good
I
volume
think it's
so
just.
far today. This early on.
Oh
It's
yeah, for the time of day, yeah, we have great volume.
Yeah. It's not going to be some record-setting day, but it's still solid. It's just spread out across all. Like I got 15-minute, 5-minute, and 2-minute charts in front of me,
Hmm.
and yeah, the volume is spread out amongst all three of them very well.
Yeah, I also noticed that one thing that was interesting to me is that open interest increased.
Mm.
Like a lot of times as the month goes by, it gradually like decreases. Uh, that open interest increased between like the 27th and the 28th.
Yep.
In March contracts. Sorry, it helps if I say what contract I'm looking at. Sorry. Yeah, in March contracts. So I found that interesting. Uh, as the price was, being elevated, there became more open interest in it. So I thought that was interesting to observe. Uh,
Yeah.
the
Oh, go ahead.
Widowmaker. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just on the open interest. I think, yeah, I mean, it looks like it looks like it kind of plateaued. Like after it popped a little bit, we increased a little bit over that one days the days you were talking about, and now it's just kind of like plateaued. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more. I don't. I think it just has to do with like, well, this is the last month in with the withdrawal season,
Yeah.
and there are changes to the industry around this time of year that have nothing to do with just speculative trading. It has to do with like, insider industry stuff,
Hmm.
and like people who work in the industry who are actually filling inventories or actually, like doing these things. Um, the time March and April, and then October and November are like significant times a year for those people in those jobs, those vocations. But anyway, you were talking? Oh shoot, I forgot already what you were going to start talking about.
No, you're good. I think you're right about that. About how this March being the last month of withdrawal season, and how, yeah, I mean, there are players, in the market who want delivery, and they play a significant role in what the price does. Because when they really need delivery, then they really need it, and if they really don't need delivery, then they really don't. You know?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's kinda like the 2 extremes. It's just, like, out here, like, there's no, like, well, maybe I could use some like, no, you either, like, need it to, like, have your utility company operate, or you, like, don't. You're like, "Dude, we got too much of that stuff. Get it away from me." Uh, oh, what I was gonna say is how the Widowmaker had gotten super
Mm,
tight earlier,
mhm.
last week. It was super tight, and now it's, like, blown open, so it's, like, 20-cent difference
Oh,
now.
whoa.
Yeah, there's a 20, like, it went from 1 penny to 20 cents, and like we said, this is why it's called the Widowmaker, because there are people who try to trade what the spread is, uh, between, March and April, and it will blow up someone's portfolio, we'll just put it that way. Their if someone wants to blow up their portfolio, trade the Widowmaker spread, and,
With the
so yeah,
options.
it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, if you wanna owe the bank, like, a ton of money and lose everything and be homeless, trade options.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we're in crazy town, people. We are in crazy town, so it's a like we've detached from reality a lot in natural gas pricing right now, based on the weather pattern, based on everything. Prices right now are really elevated for this time of year. If you look back at historical charts, and so it's pretty tough to like be able to say like, oh, price is going to do this week, or price is going to do this tomorrow or today, whatever. But I was thinking about this more, Bull. Like last night we were talking, and we ended our conversation with with you asking me if I didn't think prices would be lower than this, like significantly lower come
Uh-huh.
the end of the month or April, and we can talk about this more in detail later. But no, I agree with you. It's just me overthinking things.
Can't
To,
do that.
I know to think that they wouldn't be. Nope. So yeah, this is. I mean, just kind of like waiting for. I guess I don't know someone to come along and like with the pin and just kind of pop the balloon, deflate a
Yeah.
little bit.
Waiting for Goldman Sachs to finish selling all of their long positions at these prices, and then,
Yeah.
like, go short, like, every single, like, contract,
Yep. Uh,
and then be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, there's not a gas shortage," because these prices are based on there being, like, some enormous gas shortage.
Yeah.
There's not.
This would be. I mean, just like yeah. No, there isn't. Based on historical data, like in just my experience trading natural gas, these price. If we were to end the season at this price right here, I would say we had like 800. We were getting to like the base gas. There's
Mhm.
difference in storage. You have base gas and what's I don't
Working
know.
gas.
Thank you, working gas.
Uh-huh.
Base gas is what's like taken and um it's put in storage, underground storage, just to like kind of like provide like a base pressure to like to pump against. And then so that way when you're using working gas, it's a lot easier to get out of the ground. Once you get into like trying to get base gas out of the ground, like you're screwed. Um
Yeah.
so so in my mind, these prices would be like we're 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 push like we're getting close to the base gas, in some
Yep.
areas, some geographical regions. And so we'd be at like I don't know how much base gas we have, but just like as far as like big numbers with inventory numbers, like I would say we'd be exiting with like 800 uh billion cubic feet, like less than 1 trillion cubic feet with these
Mhm.
prices, or like there would be the prospect of that happening. I just want to clear the air. There is not the prospect of that happening. I don't think anyone in the know or like in their right mind is thinking that we're going to exit um, the withdrawal season with less than 1 trillion cubic feet in reserves or in inventory. So that's where these prices are. So it's just kind of like, well, I mean, how long how long are they going to be like, giving each other boosts to try to prop up the prices? And yeah, I mean that being said, it just kind of it's a waiting game now
Yeah.
for us.
Hmm.
Hopefully, there are people with who are watching this or who'll see this in the future who have way higher risk tolerances than we do, and they're making money going long. Or maybe not now, but they made money going long off the short squeeze. I just hope people the best. That's all.
Oh yeah, totally. And I'm glad. I'm glad, grateful, ecstatic, exuberant that prices got to here.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. This is like
Yeah, because
way unexpected based on the weather spike and inventory levels.
yeah, because like earlier we had talked last week, we had talked about how, oh man, like what pricing is doing right now. It's like we're like winning the lottery of natural gas trading, and we like mean that 100% sincerely. Like, like yeah, this is awesome. Because like getting things like this where the price is so out of line with fundamentals. I know what some people might be thinking. They're thinking, oh, but Europe, there's this huge like gas storage, and Biden says we're going to get gas to them, and blah blah. Blah. That gas one is not actually coming from the United States. The United States does not have the exporting infrastructure to do that because in order for the United States to export natural gas to Europe, it has to be liquefied and put on a tanker and shipped overseas, and the capacity for the United States to do that is maxed out. It's been maxed out for months. Uh, like so that gas isn't actually like coming from the United States directly. It can come from the United States indirectly, like someone in predominantly Asia who bought a liquid natural gas cargo who has a long-term contract, says, "Oh wow, we don't need it," and then sells it to the Europeans, and so then like indirectly, but that doesn't increase our exporting capacity, and our exporting capacity like isn't gonna like 100% just go to Europe for like 6 months. Like that's not gonna happen. So like what is happening in Europe is not directly affecting US gas prices. And if someone wanted to, they could take two graphs and just do like European gas prices and then like American gas prices and like superimpose them, and they'll see that they are not directly related like at all. And that's why they're not, because like we don't have enough export. We don't have a pipeline that can just pump gas out to Europe. Like they would have to build a huge pipeline that would go from like Maine. You know what I mean? Like seriously, to like get that kind of capacity to go, and that would take forever. And um,
Yeah, it'd be like North America Stream One. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
we'd have to build a pipeline underneath the Atlantic Ocean.
Hmm.
Um, Not gonna
Just take like
happen.
5 years.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
No, yeah, that's not happening.
Oh, and then okay. So talking about price action at the okay. So at the beginning of the season, yes, like the if you look at the Henry Hub prices and the TTF prices, which are European, yeah, like there was definitely strong correlation in like if you superimpose those graphs, like Bo was talking about, um, then yes, you do see similarities. And then finally, kind of like reality crashed in, and that's what happened after Thanksgiving. That was the detachment. You can see it right here behind me. This was the detachment, the decoupling of the American prices from TTF prices. That's what that was. Um, that also coincided with some really bullish weather forecasts that came out on Thanksgiving. Um, but yeah, that's what that was, and so it finally came back to reality. However, I think people we've talked about this. There are new trading firms or whatever with big money, and I think that they are new to, or we think that they are new to trading natural gas, and so it's kind of well. Anyway, that's all speculative. I don't want to get off on some tangent. I just wanted to like just point out that like yes, absolutely, our pricing is not directly affected by theirs. And for people who might be arguing, like, because you began this conversation because you were talking about fundamentals and how like these prices, the fundamentals do not support these prices, and people talk about like, oh, what about freeze offs and what about this and we're tight and all this. Now just look at historical data. Like we're so far out of like, we're so far detached from reality with these prices that like none of that stuff matters anymore. All you have to do is look at the end of season number, like because it's such big picture stuff that yeah, this anyway, we're expecting prices to come down. To say the least. Um yeah, freeze offs are normal. They happen like every year pretty much. Production is decreased due to freeze offs at the beginning or in January, and it usually takes a while, like a month, for them to come back. But I mean, you can also go to the EIA website. You can look at that, and you can see just based on really simple records. It happens every year, and it recovers every year.
Yes. Yeah, it's a temporary reduction in production.
You can see lots of selling this morning, and then let's see around the I don't know around like 6 o'clock. Lots of selling there, and then it hits this. This is the bottom. If you look at the slash NG chart, which is just that's what I'm looking at, which is just all the front month contracts. Then 480 was a really good support level back in December. No, is it December? No, before that. What am I thinking here? Let's go to the 1 day. No, this is back in November. Really good support here for that range before the Thanksgiving thing, the spike after Thanksgiving, and then the huge sell off there. But that was really good support. So I think people are kind of looking at that as support right now. So maybe that's why it kind of bounced off here. Yeah, lots of selling early, and then some buying back, and then more selling, and we'll see if there's continued selling. I've noticed this recently, like in the morning when prices are this high, there's this kind of price action where it sells off, people buy back, and whoever's selling waits for prices to come up and sells more.
Yeah. Because they have like a they get a price point where like, ooh, this is the price point where I'm willing to start selling because they got some nice profits because they
Yeah,
went long at like 375.
yeah. Yeah, looks like I might see volume pick up again here.
Yeah, market just opened.
All right. Yeah, if you're day trading this, best of luck to you. We are not day trading it.
Yeah. If you day trading in general, best of luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. What else we got?
everyone, all of the modern world is holding their breath to see what Putin does. um, that's one thing I didn't look at this morning. What the weather in Ukraine is going to be like in over the next like little while. Lows are below freezing for these time for like the next like week. People who don't know the whole reason why we look at that, and the whole reason why kind of people are looking at uh like the month of February is because it's kind of generally agreed that if Russia invades this year, it will be during February because the ground will be harder in general. It's like on average, it's harder, and that allows like armies to move tracked vehicles more easily. So uh, the expectation would be that it would be really muddy come March, like in eastern Ukraine. So that's why the expectation is that if it's going to happen this year, it'll happen in February. I know the Chinese Olympics are going on right now, or I guess I should say the Winter Olympics are going on in China right now, and I know there's been like speculation that uh, Russia won't invade like during the Olympics, but like Russia has denied that. Like that's like a conspiracy theory being put out by some people. Uh, so we'll see. I don't know. I think there's some rule like in the Olympic like bylaws that says like if you're doing something like that, you can't like be in the Olympics. I don't know. I honestly don't watch the Olympics because it's a bunch of sports that I don't care about.
Just being real. Good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm just being real. Like, yeah, I don't care about curling. Like, like I don't care about people skiing down hills and stuff. And that's okay if people do care about that, but I'm not read up on the Olympics because yeah, I don't care about it.
The Olympic bylaws.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm not a Olympic bylaw lawyer or like whatever,
Yep.
where they like make decisions in the committee by like thumb wars and bribes. I know that much about the Olympic Committee, like that tons of people from it over the years have been like, investigated for embezzlement. I know that much. Yeah. So, I wonder when those days end. That's one thing I guess I should look. That would be something that is relevant to what I'm talking about.
the, the
Uh
those days.
uh of the Winter Olympics. They
Oh,
end February 20th. So they go from February 4 to February 20th. So if you were going to do a surprise attack, then like February 5th, like the day after it started, if no one was expecting you to actually attack because the Olympics are happening, then that would be the time to do it. Maybe all the because then you still have like lots of February. Again, it's just all speculation, but it's a speculation that people are giving real consideration to, like in politics that affects natural gas, because there are fears that it would disrupt gas supplies, because like well the pipelines that go through Ukraine would have to be shut off because that'd be too dangerous to have a war going on with pressurized gas running through the pipelines. So those pipelines would be shut off, the ones that are in Ukraine itself. But there are fears that all the pipelines that circumnavigate, like that go around Ukraine, uh, would also be cut off. These are the pipelines that go from Russia to Europe that go around Ukraine. Some people are worried that that'll happen too, and that gas will become even more scarce in Europe. So if there was an invasion of some kind from Russia into Ukraine, then I would expect prices to spike pretty hard, to put it lightly, uh, as a knee-jerk reaction to that. And when I say prices, I mean I'm talking like U.S. prices. So yeah, um, that's something to like look for.
Yeah, I'm reading this article. It's talking about the freeze-offs. Cold coming to Texas, seen driving natural gas rally as market braces for supply disruptions. They're talking about freeze-offs. Stuff that I've read suggests that the Texas infrastructure is upgraded a lot this year, and they expect freeze-offs to be less likely, or like happening less than last year's big February freeze. And then also this article is talking about how temperatures in Texas are not going to be as low as they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling for a withdrawal of 286, approaching 300.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That you're saying for this to be announced this Thursday is what they're
That
calling for?
that's what it. Yeah. Yep. That's what it sounded like. The language used was a little bit ambiguous, so I went and checked another website. Centigrade is
Mm-hmm.
saying the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, it would be for the report this Thursday. So for last week.
Nice. Yeah, for last week, ending January 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yes, very cool.
Was that pun intended?
Oh no, didn't even think about it. I'm
Mine
only
was not.
one cup
I'm
in,
gonna,
so no, I'm not that quick.
yeah. For those who are wondering, yes, coffee is the most important meal of the day. So yeah, this is speculation that freeze offs. There are people who don't want to be caught on the wrong side of a supply disruption. So yeah, so freeze offs cause a supply disruption, and there's just speculation on how much of a disruption that's going to be, and is it going to freeze more than the last wave of freeze offs that occurred? Is it going to sustain the freeze offs that occurred earlier in the year? Is it going to increase them? It's kind of it's a big you don't know till after people don't know till after the fact, and this kind of goes back with what we were talking about. People who need delivery, really need it, and people who don't really don't. So if someone really needs delivery, and they're like, oh snap, where I get gas from, there might be a lot of freeze offs, and they want to make sure they have gas. It's kind of like another side of the coin for risk tolerance. Whereas we often talk about risk tolerance based on like being speculative, like because we don't want delivery. Is someone's risk tolerance for actually needing delivery? How long can they hold out? How long can they sweat?
Exactly. It's like the. I mean, yeah. You look at TTF, you can see where like people's risk tolerance when prices go to like 180,
Hmm.
160. Yeah, they're waiting till the last minute, and then like, oh, geez, what'd I do?
Well, I feel real good.
Yeah, I do too. I feel good about it. We're just kind of floating around here. We'll see what happens today and throughout this
Hmm.
week.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I'm interested in it for sure.